Your options for water heating include one that may not be the first to come to mind. It's a heat pump water heater. Now, when most of us think of heat pumps, we think of heating and cooling our homes, but they can also heat water as well. Tom Rutkowski from E&J Geothermal is going to tell us all the details. Hi, Tom. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
What is a heat pump water heater?
So it's an electric-based heat pump that utilizes a small compressor section on top instead of a traditional element down below here to heat your domestic hot water. And it does so in a much more efficient manner.
Explain to us how it works.
Sure, so the heat pump section is located up here. There's a compressor and a small coil, and then a fan. It draws the ambient air from that space around the water heater through a filter and then down through that coil where it extracts the heat out of the air and then rejects cold air out the back. So in a lot of ways it works just like an air source heat pump for your house, where we're taking that heat out of the air, moving it through a refrigerant system, and then rejecting the cold air out the back.
And why is it such a good option?
It's a lot more efficient, right? So a normal water heater, gas water heater, would be anywhere from 0.6 to 0.67 for an EF rating, and that's the efficiency rating for the water heater, or to say 60 to 67% efficient. An electric water heater is anywhere from 0.9 to 0.92. These heat pump water heaters are anywhere from 2.2 all the way up to 3.3. So it's 330% efficient compared to a normal water heater.
Wow. Is this good for every circumstance, or are there certain considerations that we need to take into account?
So like any installation, there are certain things you want to think about when you're looking at an installation. The first one being power. You know, it needs a 2-pole 30 amp circuit to power up the unit. If it's a normal electric water heater, chances are you already have that circuit there, and it's a matter of just taking it out and putting it right back in. If it's gas, well then we have to look at how we're going to run power over to that water heater. So in this case, with a panel right next to it, it's not such a big deal, but if we're coming from across the house, that's a consideration you're going to want to take into mind. Also, you want to look at the ambient space around that heat pump. You know, because we're extracting that heat out of the air, we want to make sure that we're in an area that has that heat available. So if, for instance, we're putting it in a small closet underneath the stairs, something like that, we want to make sure that it's well ventilated and that that heat is able to come back and then be extracted to go into your domestic hot water.
Well, once a homeowner is committed to purchasing something like this, you have any tips you'd like to advise them on?
Yeah, you know, do your homework. Look for people that have been putting them in. You're going to want to look at the manufacturers and the models in particular on you know, how well they hold up for water quality, and then look at warranties. You know, it's a big investment. You want to make sure that what you're putting in is going to be covered you know, for a good time, and make sure it's going to be a good product for you.
And this is not new technology, right?
No, this has been out for over 20 years now. I'm going to say 2005 to 2010 range. It's definitely gaining more popularity now as energy efficiency is starting to become more prevalent, but you're definitely not the guinea pig. This has been out for a long time.
Okay, walk us through the installation process, if you would.
Sure, so in this particular one here, you've got your cold water in, your hot water out, just like any water heater. Sometimes you'll see flex connections from the top of the water heater to the copper or PEX piping up above. We've got our 2-pole 30 amp circuit providing the power to it. And then on the water heater itself, again, we have the upper and lower element, thermostat, and then the control. Now on this control, on this particular model, it's got 4 different settings. There's a heat pump only, where it only utilizes this compressor section and not the
Just the exchange element.
Yep, and that's going to be your most efficient. The one below that is hybrid, so it's going to run the compressor section as much as it can, but it'll kick in the elements if you're in a high demand situation. You know, if you've got a bunch of showers going, something where you're drawing a lot of hot water, it'll automatically kick in the elements as needed. The next one's going to be your electric only, so it's only utilizing the elements. That'd be if this section goes down for some reason and you're not able to run the compressor section, you'll still have hot water with the elements.
The same as you would with a traditional water heater.
Exactly.
Okay.
And then there'll be a vacation mode. So if you guys are heading out of town, you set for how long. When you come back, it'll automatically ramp back up and you're back up and running.
Now, what is the cost of not only the unit, but also the installation?
Sure, so if it's a normal change out where the power's already there, it's gonna be anywhere from $3,000 to $3,500, pretty average. If we have to run power to it, where like we're taking out a gas water heater and running a new circuit, then it just depends on that wiring cost. You know, again, if we're right next to it with the main panel right there, it might not be too bad. But if we have to run a circuit from the opposite end of the house through a finished ceiling, now then your electric cost might be a little higher for the wiring.
Well, the savings are significant. When can I, as a homeowner, expect to start seeing that savings?
Almost immediately. The next time you see your bill, you should start seeing those savings. A normal household sees about a $15 to $20 a month savings if they're able to operate it on that compressor section mostly. And then there's a lot of tax incentives and rebates available. Anyone that's looking to put one of these in, I highly recommend they talk with their tax professional, their salesperson, to learn about the applicability of any of those tax credits and incentives.
Well, thank you, Tom, for all these details. Really helpful.
Not a problem.
If you'd like to learn more about options for heating water in your powerhouse, go to our website, powerhousetv.com.
It's estimated that the average hot water usage per person per day in the U.S. is 15.8 gallons.